Of the day now. In 2019, many Kenyans traveled from far and wide to attend the Madaraka Day celebrations that were conducted in Narok. 2020, we cannot travel. We cannot attend celebrations due to COVID-19, hence a virtual celebration. Was it any different for you, Cyprian? What differences did you see?
Well, I think this was expected. There's nothing we did see coming with the current health measures that have been put in place. I think one was it going to happen in the United States or any other place, Lesotho or anywhere. I think still it would have been the same. It had to be unique. Top of the distance, keeping the social distance and everything. So I think it's nothing. Yes, it's new, but we saw it coming. So I don't think there's that, that shock. Yeah.
All right. I'm really curious though. How differently? Yeah. How do you normally celebrate your Madaraka Day? What did you not do, or did you do different this year? Now, national celebrations aside.
Yeah, from the family aspect, it's that day when now you get to see your dad, ako nyumbani, your mama ako nyumbani. Yeah, and you have to do baby cleaning. Kitoka hapo, most kids wanapelekwa Uhuru Park, papwa balloon colors, and then you're taken around town ikiwa bila watu, then you go home. That's now the normal Madaraka Day celebrations. Plus, of course, most people used to flock the stadium when the celebrations will be held. Kungoja tu zile ndege, mtukufu rais, kikosi kinachopita, ndege ya kwanza inaitwa Buffalo. That was it for Madaraka Day.
Emmanuel, I am curious, have you attended any Madaraka Day celebration before?
I have attended several.
Really?
Yeah.
As press or as an individual citizen?
As an individual.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
So today is Madaraka Day. It has shown us that there are some things we can live without. This COVID-19 has shown us there are some things we can live without. E.g., Madaraka Day celebrations. Normally, we always go to the stadium to celebrate. My question is, what are we celebrating on when our economy is bad, when our health sector is bad, when everything is bad? So it's high time we start changing our ways of celebrating these things. Let it just be there on the paper, but not practically. Let us remember, okay, on this day we celebrated our independence, so let it be that it's today, but not wasting millions preparing the grounds, preparing the choppers, preparing the buffaloes, like
and when you say spending huge amounts of money, I cannot stop thinking about the amount of money saved by this virtual celebration. Cyprian, I am curious, do you think the government should actually refund this money? They have been telling schools to refund money that has not been used for the academic year 2020 just because education was disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Do you feel like they should actually refund this money? They tell us this is the amount of money that we have been able to see as savings from not holding these celebrations. And guys, here is your money back.
Well, I think, any other mwananchi, that's the feeling that we get still as we haven't seen what this money has done and everything. But now there is a way that government works, I think, in such a way that, it's the office that demands, the office of the president that demands maybe such celebrations are held, and he addresses the nation, Yeah, but again, come to think of it, he's just said, there's nothing to celebrate about. I mean, everything is not working for us. Yeah, some of us are being told, most of us are being told to go home. People are losing jobs, but people are celebrating. Like after the gathering, the so-called celebrations, they now go somewhere as ill as at when sasa tukunywe chai. For what? I mean, we are suffering.
Well, I feel like a few people have been saying that we are celebrating that colonizers.
You talked of funding, refunding the money. I think after Madaraka Day, you'll see a funny budget. Okay, we use this amount of millions to mobilize people to watch TV. We use this amount of millions to make sure the internet is stable so that people who are using internet can follow us. So you'll find that they have spent more than what they could have spent during a normal Madaraka Day at Nyayo
And I really
Stadium.
hope that is not a case, especially at a time like right now when the country really needs all the funding that we can get. But I'm curious, Emmanuel, the fact that these celebrations and the differences that we have been able to see from colonizers to coronizers.
I think he should sip something.
A few people were saying that the most memorable thing about these celebrations is the fact that people get to actually spend a day at home and not at work. And now that working from home or staying at home has become the new normal, a lot of people are not feeling any form of public holiday. I know at a time like right now, a few years back, we have seen people even asking religions, such as people who follow the sect of, do I call them Akorino or Wakorino? Emmanuel, wanaitwaje? But people have been faulting them for not giving them a public holiday. I haven't had anyone right now just coming out to say that we need a public holiday. But the celebrations aside, Uhuru Ruto bromance might actually be back. Emmanuel, you were working the shift, and that conversation, what do you think was going on?
You see, that conversation is took long, like 3-5 minutes. First of all, they are putting on their masks, so it wasn't able to tell if they're in good mood or bad mood. But the body language of the president and the deputy, normally when Uhuru is excited or something, or he is in good mood, he'll talk, then claps, then it's like bowing down. But today we saw Uhuru, the way he's throwing hands, you can see even on your telly, the way he's throwing hands, it's like they want to fight.
Really?
So it's like they are about to fight.
Well, you can look at the pictures on your screen and tell us what you see.
If you pause that video somewhere, then you'll think these people are almost fighting. But let me tell you, this is politics. You cannot expect them to show whatever their sides, the Tanga-Tanga, Keleweke sides are showing
Emmanuel,
in press
I feel
conferences.
like you're alone on this one. Cyprian, I'm curious, what did you make out of the fact that for the longest time we have not seen these men in matching ties or suits, and today their attire was actually almost similar. It gave me hope maybe Uhuruto is not dead after all.
Well, you know, with the politics, you expect anything. First, we didn't see this coming, you know, with everything that has been happening with the whipping of the de-whipping of the Tanga-Tanga team that's allegedly linked to the deputy. We didn't see this coming. But again, you know, with politics, you can never tell. The dynamics keep changing. And the government critics in our country have always been saying that since independence, this is the so-called PR government. So with this, this could be PR stunts. You can never tell.
Exactly. I support you 100% on this.
And the fact that a lot of people say the fact that the Baba did not speak at today's celebration, then that means his head might actually be next on the queue. Atanyolewa pia, ukiona cha mwenzako chanyolewa,
maybe since
maji. That's how the people from Swahili Nation say.
Maybe since Baba didn't speak, I think maybe he was on the list of people who are supposed to address the Madaraka Day. Then it was the DP was supposed to invite him. Then unfortunately invited the president, leaving out Baba. So maybe Uhuru was just angry at his younger brother for avoiding the Baba.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be shaven clean if it were me. I'd avoid the Baba. I don't know what about you.
Because most of the public functions we've had, whether in Kakamega, whether it's in Nyeri, Baba has always had a say, has always spoken. Yeah.
And I really like today's celebration because the speeches, I think, were short and precise and straight to the point. And finally, the hierarchy of government. We have seen Uhuru and Ruto are still president and deputy president, no matter what anyone else out there might be telling you. Now, Fairmont Norfolk, one of the biggest players in the hotel industry, last week announced the indefinite closure of the business after 116 years due to the effects of COVID-19 on the business. Now, in the President's address today, 2 billion Kenya shillings was allocated to hotels to ensure that the hoteliers are able to keep their employees during this period. My question tonight, Cyprian, is this the only industry that is suffering that would warrant the President to give money to?
No, I really doubt. This thing has affected every sector, be it businessmen, the SMEs, be it the big wigs when it comes to business. Everybody has been affected. And I think what the President is doing, or rather the government, is they're trying to cushion every sector with the little cash that they have where possible. And I think with the money that was injected in the hospitality industry, now the dilemma that I am in, and I believe other people are in too, is the shock that we had towards the end of last week when the workers at Fairmont Hotel were told to go home. And then 2-3 days later, government injects money to the industry. So tunashanga, what will be the money used for? But I think
and Cyprian, when you bring out this point, I am really concerned by the fact that approximately 300,000 people have lost their jobs. I know they were not all hoteliers. Emmanuel, what does the government seek to achieve by granting only one sector of our economy money and leaving out the rest?
You see, when it allocates 2 billion to hotel and hospitality industry, normally people who own these hotels, and remember there are big hotels that are going to benefit. They're the friends of the government, the friends of the president. So it's just like telling them, okay, you need to stay in business, soon we'll be back. But we have so many people, I think it's more than 300,000 people who've lost their jobs, and there's no hopes of getting back their jobs. If you've gone along the southern or even the eastern bypass, you'd find, even we've talked about this story last week, the private car owners, they have engaged now into business, selling vegetables, fruits, and other foodstuffs, because they cannot go to the job they were attending to before the COVID. So the government need to find a way, a solution. You need to find a fishing net, not a fish itself. Right now it's given out fish worth 2 billion, but it could have given a fishing net worth 2 billion, then it would save lives,
and I actually agree
so many
with you,
jobs.
Emmanuel, and the fact that a lot of the small and medium enterprise businesses in this country have not been able to register officially on the government's portals and all. I feel like a lot of them might not actually have access to these funds due to lack of proper documentation. I'm imagining Mama Mboga, the person who runs a kibanda somewhere near your neighborhood, might not actually have access to this money because your business is not registered. This just tells you how important it is to follow some of these measures that are put in by the government. Also remember to file in your taxes as well. But I am wondering, CBK Governor Patrick Njoroge announced last week that we do not have enough capital for the SMEs to run to the end of June. Cyprian, I am curious, how do you feel the SMEs are going to survive and stay afloat amid all this?
I think with this, every nation is struggling at the moment. Even the first world countries are struggling because, one, nobody saw this coming. No government has, right structures put in place to cushion people. So I think, let me give you an example. Right now, things are running. Things seem to be running. For example, we have somebody who took a loan. Maybe he's building somewhere, rental houses or whatever, and then, so the money that he has is still in the bank, the loan that he was given. So he's going to some hardware somewhere in the estate, in town, and the building materials. Soon the structure will be finished. It will be ready to be rented out. But there's nobody to move in because, just like we said a few minutes ago, we don't have the jobs. If you don't have a job, you can't even move to a new house, or, the things we're used to can't go on. So it means somebody has a loan that he has to service. For example, he has a house that might be repossessed. The banks also need money. They need to be running. So there's a confusion, as in we don't know what to do next. We really don't know what to do next. So I think the government is just giving us a projection, or the central bank is giving us a projection that soon things might not be as they are right now. We'll be crying, I think. I don't know. God save us. God save the Queen.
I really was hoping, Emmanuel, that the president would address a few things in regards to reopening the economy. We have seen that South Africa have actually started easing down their lockdown. And the first act by people in the street was actually to buy alcohol. I am wondering, what are some of the things that we saw that we really hoped that the president would address today and didn't address?
You know, the president needs to, and the whole government needs to create ways on which people can get that money, not dishing out cash in terms of emergency. So that when emergency comes, you will be utakuwa umejipanga. But today, I think he reserved so many points that he'll be speaking to us soon, because you know we have very few days to ease the lockdown. People are projecting that it might end soon, as 6th of this month. So I think he tried as much as he can not to indulge into that, but maybe is his next speech. Then go to South Africa. I think these people had really missed liquor because it was actually banned. It was banned. So you can see the queues were very long, and they were celebrating. It's like a king has been born somewhere. They were celebrating like never before. So
and yet you are the people here who had celebrations, and I was hoping maybe he would tell us, curfew is lifted for today, let us celebrate our independence, and then tomorrow we are back to business. I really hope we will be seeing.
I'm sure if the curfew is lifted today, then tomorrow morning, whatever you'll see in media, it will shock you. You'll say, okay, let's go back to the curfew.
I really hope when we are given this freedom, Emmanuel will be able to use it.
Some people are not broke, but are just saving for after the curfew has been lifted, so that they can spend. You know what they'll spend.
Yes, Cyprian.
I was just reminding Emmanuel, you know, there's a clip I saw, some minister in Tanzania was saying, it's good to take liquor because when you take liquor, you forget your problems. So I think that's really what South Africa did. That let them first push on its citizens by allowing them to take liquor wasahau shida zao. So that now...
So the South Africans went to buy liquor to forget their problems.
Well,
and there's xenophobia and all that stuff. And
I feel like this is not an African problem, Emmanuel.
The other thing
we have seen it repeatedly, Emmanuel. We have seen it repeatedly, not just in Africa, just across.
Do you know the Premier League is back? The football is back, so they are happy twice. The liquor is there, the Premier League is coming back, so
maybe life is coming back to normal.
It's double celebration for them,
All right, okay. Now let's move from South Africa, come back to Kenya, and straight out of Nyeri, one Alex Nderito has caught the attention of the international community. Now, his comment on a Facebook live stream caught fire after Americans viewed his comment as a threat to security, with citizens tagging various security agencies including FBI and CIA. Nderito asked Americans to burn the White House down in the wake of protests against the killing of one George Floyd, a civilian, but calling out the FBI, the CIA on this guy. Cyprian, do you feel like people from America were actually being overzealous on this one? Were they pushing it? A man is in Nyeri, and you feel like he's a threat to the national security of the United States. Cyprian?
I think Alex Nderito is almost acting as a wanted. Have you ever seen these tags that are given to terrorists? I'm not saying he's one, but the way he's acting, because we are not sure where he's from. First, utaona he's from Nyeri, a man from Nyeri, a Kenyan man from Nyeri. Next, a Kenyan man from Ruaka, a Kenyan man from Kiambu. You know, we are not so sure where he is. So, even if the first characteristic, a wanted person by the Interpol FBI. Then secondly, I think already people are creating a fuss out of it. I think Hii ni ile tweet ya mtu wako kwa kabensita kake mahali hapo na stress ajui atakula nini next. And then it's like because America is making their protest to become an issue, because I think I saw most Kenyans tweeting than even the Americans about, you know, the Black Lives Matter, and of course it does, the Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
But I think Kenyans took it upon themselves. Ikakuwa ni issue yetu, and that is where
I am wondering how light or heavy were these comments, Emmanuel, given the fact that as Kenyans, we felt like this was a joke and a lot of people were actually poking fun at this, but other people felt the threat was real. How light or heavy does this use of social media qualify as good use or irresponsible use?
You know, Kenyans are masters in this mobilizing, demonstrating and all other stuff. We've seen some of them being arrested in Zimbabwe for trying to organize a coup or demonstrations on the streets when Mugabe was still alive. Then here comes Alex Ritu with this comment, just one comment. Then it changed the way people started demonstrating down there in the United States. So here in Kenya, he might have made it as a joke, but it's something that the Americans themselves were waiting for.
Yeah.
But no one was ready to come out.
And when you speak about Kenyans helping revolutionize other countries, after Nderitu actually posted this comment, people were actually chanting the Haki Yetu phrase. I don't know if you guys have seen this video. We have it. Let's look at it, then discuss this.
We can say it in Swahili. We say Haki Yetu. 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 Haki
Yetu.
I am wondering, in the middle of a protest, you just decide to identify as Kenyan. Are we removing a speck in our brother's eye? Well, our log is still sitting in ours. If you remember, Samuel Minor has been trending on social media. He faced the wrath of our security organs. His face was brutally, how do I call it?
Broken.
Cyprian, have you seen this video? And do we have the capacity to help other nations revolutionize? We're still sitting on a problem right here in our country.
I think Kenyans are full of double standards, sorry to say, because at one point we pick up on an issue and we push it to the end. Sometimes Kenyans go quiet about issues we think should be, dealt with, or we need to talk. We need to, ask the authorities to come up and, answer questions that would demand answers from. And I really don't know, because someone
online was actually saying the fact that if we have to call out tribalists and other people who do this country wrong, we might need to call out our brothers, sisters, parents. It really made a lot of sense for me. Emmanuel, my question for you is, why are the protests right now in the United States? Racism has always been an issue in this country. Why now?
You know, right now, many people are frustrated with the way economy is, how they can get food. They are just frustrated. They have lost their jobs. We have this virus around, so they can't get out. So the Floyd murder, it was just like, it was a catalyst. It was just like a spark plug that made these people erupt from their houses. You see, right now they cannot be ruled. They cannot be ruled. They are uncontrollable. You can see the way they've been fighting the police. Then you wonder, this is not a normal protest. People have been killed in the U.S. We've had protests, but not as huge as this.
Yes.
So.
And the fact that two wrongs do not make a right, Cyprian. I know you had seen videos on the retaliation that these people have actually gone ahead and meted upon the police force in the United States. It makes me it leaves me wondering, do two wrongs really make a right? Just because the police treated this black man differently, should these communities then in return treat the police in this manner?
Absolutely. I mean, two wrongs never make a right. And that is why we have great leaders in the United States who've come up and condemned even the banning of the stores and police stations and, the picketing. But one thing I admire with the United States is the freedom that they have. I was reading some bloggers' article. They were trying to compare what is happening right now. I think it's the fifth day today that they have been on the streets protesting. And so far, we don't have any deaths, So far, so good. There's no death. Compared na hapa Kenya, sai, yani ukisikika tu, Kenya, Uganda, even Tanzania, we have examples of Kina Besije, you are under house arrest for no reason, because they suspect, unaweza toka tu kwa hata uende kwa duka, So one thing I admire is the freedom that they have, and whatever they are doing is for a good cause. But as for us Kenyans, when you keep quiet, when somebody is being oppressed and you are quiet about it, it means you are supporting them.
Yes, that is so true.
I think it's a wake-up call for Kenyans that the things that we've been going quiet about, keeping quiet about, we need to speak up.
Yes, I agree with you, Cyprian. It is actually the time to speak out of any issues that we feel are not going as we want to in this society. Now, in its quarterly labor force report, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics has revealed that youths between the ages of 20 and 24 made the highest number of those out of the job market during this period of coronavirus. Now, conversely, 50 to 64-year-olds have least employment rates. Emmanuel, are you shocked? We have seen people as old as my grandmother being allocated positions in this government. Are we shocked that the people in this age bracket actually have the least rate of unemployment in this country?
How old is your grandma?
Well, leave my grandmother out of this one, Emmanuel.
if she's below 90, she's still a youth, because we have people who are above 90, but they're still employed. This notion of saying the youths are the leaders of tomorrow, it has really made youth think that they cannot get jobs at younger age.
But it is not thinking, Emmanuel. It's just how it is.
It's how it is. It's how it is, yes.
Does life really start at 40? Because if you look at the young people, they have no jobs right now. They have no money to fund their businesses, even if they were to start any. Do you feel like life might actually start at 40 or 50 in this case?
No, it's not a matter of begins if it's a yes or no. I think this is the government's way of thinking. That life begins at 40. Now that's the Kenyan government. So that by the time you are 60, now you are in your 20s, that's when you start working. By the time you are in your 70s, say 75, you've got the president's eye, you get the president's appointment. So in Kenya, what it really means, what this means is that you just have to keep your head above the water till you are 40. Now you get reborn. I think that's where, huduma namba inafaa kupeanwa when you are 40. So that now you are ready for government jobs.
Emmanuel, you take on this one.
Huduma number needs to be given at 40. First of all, it never existed. So when you find the least people are employed between the age of 50 and 60, they have least. And then 20 to 24, he has the highest number of unemployed.
Emmanuel, I feel personally hurt when I remember that this government actually rode on the wave that they were young, they were actually going to have goodies for the younger people, and we see young people suffer every day. Even before COVID-19, the rates of unemployment among the youth were very high. Some people tell us it is a matter of experience. Where do we gain this experience from if you're not given these chances, Cyprian? Cyprian? I think we lost him. Emmanuel?
Hello?
Yeah? What do you feel about this issue?
No, I lost you, Kidogo. I lost you. I never heard the last bit of your
All right. My question for you, Cyprian, is the fact that we are told we are the leaders of tomorrow. A lot of people feel like experience is the thing that this youth, the youth lack to be able to have these positions. Where do they expect we will get this experience from?
I think that is rhetoric, because all of us are asking ourselves, where do we need to get this experience from, given that look at the number of graduates we are getting every year from the universities, whether public or private. Every career right now is getting, saturated with guys who have the knowledge about the job, but there are no jobs. Now, the question has always been, where do I get the experience? Because nowadays it seems even an impossibility getting somewhere to, just wekelea kakichwa tu as an intern and everything as you wait for, now.
And I really hope we will find solutions to this one ultimately, because it is us, the youth, who are suffering, Emmanuel.
The solutions are within the youth. Because
I actually agree with you.
Most of the Kenyan youth, actually nearly all, are brainwashed by the system, by the government or the leaders. Because after every 5 years, it's the youth will be used to do ABCD that is not good. Then thereafter, they'll have to wait for 5 more years. Then at school, you find that...
Emmanuel, it really, I feel like this is not a matter of how we elect our leaders, because even the youthful leaders that we have elected into this government have not been able to put our issues on the table.
That's why I was going to school, because at school, you are taught how to pass exams, not how to be productive in future. So after Form 4, you're out there, you got your A, but that A cannot help you because you are studying how to pass exam, you are revising how to pass exam.
I actually agree with you, Emmanuel, and this is a discussion that we cannot exhaust in the night.
That's
Francis
why
Mugo here says the rate of unemployment, another pandemic in Kenya, 50s and 60s are the government, the youth, there is nothing for us. He says he is watching us from Oman, Muscat. Thank you so much for watching. Now let us take a short break, because I know for a fact that the editorial team is readying a powerful show for you tonight. Top stories that you care about. Let us know these stories. Have a look at the highlights, and then we will be back. Thank you so much for staying with TV47. My name is Tracy Mokami, and this is In Other News. Martin Mohammed, you say you're watching. Thank you so much for keeping us company. We have Yule. You say, I suggest they reopen the economy since there will be an inflation at a future date. These are concerns from everyone across the country. You say Kenyans are not past with anything that is trending, and that is nature. That is why we witnessed Nderitu Alex from Nyeri, thank you so much for keeping us company. Pastor Nicholas Kemei say, let us interact. Tukopoa sana. Bosco Ngari, I see you as well. Lucy Wamboi Mora from Kikuyu Town, thank you so much for keeping us company right here on Inada News. Remember, you can call us live. The numbers are on the bottom right of your screen. Our Facebook pages, Twitter, Instagram, social media, you name it, we are there. So make sure you're watching the show and giving us the feedback. We really appreciate your company here. And imagine now going home after a long day to find another man seated on your favorite chair after having asked your children to call him dad. Ford Kenya Party leader Moses Wetangula is facing a similar predicament after he was dethroned and replaced by Wafula Wamunyenye. Many say Baba has shaven his head clean. Manuel, is it possible that these problems were incubated by outsiders and are not actually from Ford Kenya?
The problems of NASA as general, then you narrow down to Ford Kenya and ODM, started way back when Wetangula was ousted as the Senate Minority Leader, replaced by Orengo. So yesterday, we had, was it last week, we had some leaders converge in Kajiado at Atuli's place. Then from there, those leaders are the friends of Baba. They are allied to Baba, though they are from Ford Kenya. Baba had to the whip Chris Wamala from the whip, Senator, Parliamentary Minority Whip. Immediately replaced him with is it Aseli Simiu, who is a lawless to Baba, yet he is a Ford Kenya. So these people are the one who converged yesterday and formed a meeting and said, okay, this is a neck and we are ousting our leader. He's no longer our leader, Mr. Moses Wetangula. So,
you know, Emmanuel, before you continue, Cyprian is with us, and I am wondering, do you feel like this coup actually succeeded? Were they successful in removing Moses Wetangula as party leader for Kenya?
Just like any other African nation, I think we've never had successful coups, especially post-1990. So I think if they'd known this, they wouldn't have tried it anywhere. I mean, even just the thought of it popping up, well, that would have been the end of it, because I think, you know, when it's a coup, you have to plot properly. You have to plot properly. And with the party leader coming back with Wetangula and telling us, you know, he's trying to put his house in order, we're expecting... Whatever he's doing, I think we even expect more. You know what happened with Baba Kujiapisha in Uhuru Park? We expect somebody to be deported, sorry to say.
You know, I'm wondering why, Emmanuel, a lot of these people feel like they need to put their houses in order by actually disrupting the business of other people's houses. If you want to clean your house, do you start by making your neighbor's house dirty though?
It depends. If you are living in the same flat, then there's noise from the neighbor's room. You'll have to tell him to shut down before you clean your house. Because if you actually, it was not a coup. If you look at Moses Wetangula, when he had a presser letter, he had over 11 MPs elected on Ford Kenya ticket who supports him. Unlike the first coup, the coup that was taken was led by other few individuals, they had only 2 elected MPs. So you can see where the numbers. You know, politics is all about numbers. So I think Wetangula is Ford Kenya, and Ford Kenya is Wetangula. You cannot take him anywhere. Neither can you oust him. So whatever they did, I think it was just trying to attract attention.
And I really hope, Emmanuel, that the political parties in this country will realize that this is not a time for politicking. We have other bigger fish to fry over and above their personal interests. Now, on Saturday, Bishop Margaret Wanjiru was discharged after recovering from the feared COVID-19. She made a press statement. She even visited her church afterwards. But what really caught my eye is the fact that she says she has 6 domestic workers. Cyprian, how many of her followers do you think are able to afford 6 domestic workers?
None, definitely none. And,
well, you say that so precisely.
Of course, I mean, we all know the analogy that goes with, you know, religion and the leaders and everything. we had, was it last week, former legislator, is it Kalemendile? Kalemendile was talking to the spiritual leaders in this country, asking them to pray. Waombe haraka sana hii kitu ishe. Because isipoisha, now as hii kitu isipoisha as soon as possible, let them not even reopen the churches because we'll know. And he even mentioned specific that I'll not mention in this show.
You know, Cyprian, when you say this, it really helps me, it really puts into perspective the inequalities that have been brought about by COVID-19. One of them being a few people actually questioning the amount of time that the bishop took to recover. Emmanuel, some people say the time was too short. 14 days later, did she actually finish the recommended time in quarantine and treatment?
If the reports from the media is something to go by, then I must say she has recovered in a record of less than a week. Because the first time we heard she's an ICU, it was not even a week. And then
Cyprian, have you seen the same reports?
Yes, I have. It's 5 days. But I think to be on her side, to maybe side with her, what if they tested her on day 9?
Okay.
Day 9 ya ugonjwa yake, so that 5 days later alikuwa amepona.
Yeah.
Even if you are,
you know, Emmanuel, even before we go into
negative,
the mathematics of the number, Emmanuel, because unless she comes out and tells us this is when I was actually tested and all, those are facts we cannot change. My biggest concern is even after she was discharged from hospital, at the presser, she was not wearing her mask the way she needs to be doing it. She was not social distancing, and that this presser that she had called for was actually to help sensitize people on the need to social distance and wear masks. And I'm thinking, what other lesson, except bigger than contracting COVID-19, would we need, Cyprian? Which other lesson? How else can you be taught?
I think these leaders, it doesn't even stop with Margaret. You saw Atuoli in Kajiado, and they were even condemned by the health officials in the country were, saying, come on, leaders, you need to lead by example. But again, we can't blame them because these leaders are a representation of the citizens. That we elect who we are. So if Lawabaitu must be, come on, ask anybody that you know why they are putting on masks. It's not because of COVID-19, it's because they fear being arrested. Simple. That explains everything.
And when you mention leaders and how they're still continuing to conduct their business as usual, the contrast of how a man in Meru was actually forced to spend the cold at and his night in the cold at a police station with his late wife's body. Emmanuel, you're here with me on on Friday, and when we were discussing this issue, we did not actually have as much details as this man put across. Do you feel like the inequalities in our societies are really being shed a spotlight on by this pandemic?
I remember Nyata saying that he has a friend, I don't know if it's Cyprian, but let's go back to...
Might actually be.
You see, the inequalities that guy met in Meru, Tharakanithi, roadblock, you cannot stand in front of anyone then you are comfortable telling him that way, because this man came from, was it Lamu or where? Malindi.
From Malindi, yes.
Then he passed so many roadblocks. He had everything. He had the permits for the dead. He had tested. He had coronavirus certificate. He had the bus that they were in. There was enough social distancing. Then, upon reaching the roadblock, the police are demanding, okay, you need to alight, or we take you to quarantine for 14 days. So this guy decided, okay, let me alight here. And like going to quarantine, they did not want to bury my wife. So he spent the night in the cold. In fact, at some point of the night, the rain came and it was raining. He had to look for a nylon somewhere, paper bag, and clothes.
And it's very sad, and this is not a Kenyan only problem. We have seen in the UK, Boris Johnson's aide, Dominic Cummings, was actually one of the people who was flouting the rules that have been put in place in the UK. And I really hope we will be seeing a scenario where leaders are not actually selfish and do not take advantage of the power that they actually will yield. And that is all the time that we had for In Other News. I keep calling you Victor. Cyprian, 20 seconds to let Kenyans know what you do and where to find you.
Well, my name is Cyprian Osoro. I'm a creative. That's what I'd say. Just a content creator, among many other things that I do. But that's what mostly people know me for. And you can find me on Facebook. We have a page with Victor, who was here last week. That is Mkisini Mkisi. It's a very famous page, by the way. On YouTube, you'll find us Mkisini Mkisi. I have a personal account, Cyprian Osoro, and Osoro Osoro on Instagram. Yeah, that's where you'll find me, plus with what I do.
All right.
Yeah, we'll always catch up there and interact.
All right, Asante Sana, thank you so much for taking your time to join us on In Other News. My name is Tracy Mukami. I'll see you Wednesday. Emmanuel,
Yes.
finally we give you an opportunity kuambia wa Kenya kwaheri for the first time on this show.
You know, I lost quorum. I lost quorum. I could have ousted you already.
That
Bye
is
bye,
a fake coup.
have
I'm
a good
not
night.
cool. Like the fun Kenya coup.
Yes.
Good, thank you so much for watching. See you Wednesday.
Okay.